saying nah was a threat in those two games versus Gamti. It allows him the freedom to be able to do that. But we are into Champion Select, and already we see that the Kalista has been banned away from Crystal and is followed up by a Cho'Gath ban.
Yeah, and I love seeing the Cho'Gath ban here, of course. Exploded onto the Rift, and Hatong having some pretty fantastic performances. Of course, Assassin as well. Ninja is a fantastic mid-lane Cho'Gath. Mid-lane Cho'Gath just seeming to be the flavor of the month at the moment. Xerath going to be taken away from Barker. No surprises there at all, although Snake did actually drop a game with Barker on that Xerath. And there it is, the Gnar ban coming through, aimed at carry, and completely understandable. And we'll see whether the Lissandra is going to hit the bench and whether it's going to be Snake that's going to be forced to ban that one, as Kog'Maw also taken away, so no Lulu ban.
Yeah, no Lulu ban, actually opting to take the Kog'Maw out of the Juggernaut comp, so it would be interesting to see if they decide to run something else. I'm surprised, actually very surprised, that they haven't hit Nunu at all. I think Nunu is a very strong champion at the moment, and we see Nidalee being taken away from Dandy, who has played it to great effect.
Yeah, and that could almost force out the first pick Rek'Sai here, you have to think, as carry is hovering over it. Is going to give a few options here to Snake if they want to take away the likes of Lissandra. They also have the opportunity to give Ella that Janna as well, which he's so incredibly strong on, and they are looking like they're going to go there, but it is going to be the Maokai in the top lane for Flandre, one of his comfort picks.
Yeah, giving a super tank over to Flandre, who can use teleport brilliantly.
Oh, yeah.
I always like to point out champions that Flandre uses teleport well on, and Maokai definitely one of those, being able to get the early home guards, affect other parts of the map, and really is the initiator for his team. Would not be surprised if we see Marta's Thresh come through here. Of course.
Yeah, he's had some brilliant games on that Thresh.
Definitely has. Not a bad matchup as well against the Janna. Does a lot in the lane swap, whereas Janna a little bit more passive in the roams around. And actually Hatong taking away the Victor in the first round, really disrespecting Barker here. Victor has a lot of counter picks, looking towards the Ahri that is still up as well, that just deals so well with it.
Yeah, some exciting hovers coming through here from Snake, but I like the Victor pickup because Barker has sort of shown that he can play Lulu, Victor, and Xerath on this patch at the moment. And, of course, no Kog'Maw in order to make that Juggernaut comp work, so Lulu not quite as effective there in the mid lane, and Hatong just going to pick away the Victor. So just taking away Barker's champion pool, but they haven't touched Beast at all, and he gets the Nunu.
Yeah, so he gets the Nunu. I think that is such an important pickup here. Deals very well with Victor, who, of course, doesn't have any gap closers. Finds it very difficult to escape a Nunu. And it now will be down to the AD carry. Would be surprised to see if it is the Sivir, because once again, no gap closer. This is a very immobile team coming out of Vici at the moment. And we've seen Beast go off with counter jungling, might be able to shut the Rek'Sai down, and then in team fights, has the ability to be able to zone a lot of the Vici lineup.
Yeah, Vasily does have some maneuverability if he picks out this Lucian, though, and carry aiming to burn down the tree in the top lane.
I love the Lucian pickup right here. Gets rid of the slow with the dash, has the ability to weave with his passive, so doesn't really need attack speed. Really agree with the AD carry pickup here that Vasily has gone for. And in the top lane, carry going for that rumble. It's a lot of magic damage coming out of mid and top. AoE, which means that on the side of Snake, they will have to itemize towards it. And if Vasily has another game where he goes off in the mid game, might not have the time to be able to pick up that armor.
Yeah, it's true. And Snake now going to be hovering the Ezreal here in the mid lane. Did not work out when Gamti tried this against Vici Gaming yesterday. I mean, Xiaohu was playing that over and over again, and yeah, he's a brilliant Ezreal player, but not necessarily working out against the likes of Vici, who are so good at controlling the game early.
Yeah, certainly are, and that is what they're going with. Mason Nunu pick up a little bit questionable, because the Blood Boil doesn't really help out Ezreal, doesn't really help out Corki. These aren't hyper carries. These are guys that want to be using their abilities and weaving auto attacks in between the Qs and the Rs that are coming through. And normally see Nunu paired with something like an Aurelia, something like a Kalista that has all these attack speed modifiers coming through, but this isn't going to be the case. So I really want to see how Snake's lineup comes together. They have okay siege, especially if they go with the blue Ezreal, but not much else.
Yeah, well, it's true. As we see the lineups coming through, ladies and gentlemen, carry on that Rumble into the Maokai. Generally a pretty good matchup here for the Rumble. As we go into the jungle here as well. Beast on his comfort pick. Dandy on a comfort pick as well. His Rek'Sai has looked fantastic, but the Nunu, will see whether Beast can be the control jungler that we know him as. And Barker trying out the Ezreal here in the mid lane was a little bit out of options there as far as those picks are concerned. We'll see how this one works out against Hatong on the Victor, who's just been really strong recently. And Vici, he's got the counter matchup into the Corki.
Yeah, certainly does. Vici will be looking to get aggressive in that lane as well, because he's the one with the Thresh, of course. Allah has picked up Janna. Good defensive support, but not really going to be able to do much against the combo coming through. So looking for a lane swap here, and I think Vici have definitely got the better of this champion select.
Yeah, and Vici's drafting phase has been fantastic across the board. They've looked very, very strong with the picks that they've got and then the utilization of where their power spikes are throughout the game. And they have been going for these mid-game fighting team comps, and once again, that's exactly what they've got.
Yeah, and not only do they have a great mid-game team comp with the Rumble, with the Victor, I think they have a really good late-game team comp as well. Of course, Lucian only gets better as the game goes on. Once he picks up all that crit, very hard to deal with. And we've seen Victor absolutely destroy team fights single-handedly. The only thing that worries me is the fact that Rumble immobile, Victor immobile, and they are against a Nunu. So if Beast can get to work early and try and deal with these solo laners, I think that he can get them ahead.
Yeah, and do you think that Beast is going to aim for some counter jungling in this game as well? Of course, Nunu known for that.
Yeah, I definitely think at the start of the game, he will look for the counter jungle, deep wards, and then afterwards really try and impact these team fights with the absolute zero, with the snowball.
Yeah, well, of course, Vici is going to be relying a little bit on that attack speed as well. Maybe not so much with the Light Slinger passive, but we'll see whether it is going to affect him. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get on to the Rift. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, with Vici Gaming taking on Snake for our first game of the second day of the LPL for this week. Beast is going to be able to get a ward down here as Dandy's going to try and clear that one out. Using that Q, of course, increasing his attack speed, but doesn't manage to get the last auto attack as Snake. They managed to destroy Martyrs.
Yeah, so 10 gold favoring.
Oh, yeah,
Crystal
already in the lead.
We actually see the lane swap potentially coming through here. No deep ward, so they won't be able to scout this one out. And as I said, the Lucian Thresh lane, the Wife Steal bottom lane, is just such a strong duo and don't want to have to deal with it, so they look to go to the top lane.
Yeah, we've heard a few opinions across the professional scene as far as whether that lane is strong or not, but it often gets picked up here as well. And certainly when Lucian was top of the pick rate, that was always the lane that seemed to come through, and largely for just how good they are as individual champions.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's not much synergy is what I think a lot of people criticize with the lane, but in saying that, a lot of burst damage does come through from the Lucian. So if you land any death sentence, you get the flayed through. It really does do some work. And we see double jungling going on. A little bit of harass coming through from Ella early, trying to steal that one away with a tornado. Not going to be able to make it happen. And we have lane swaps with top lane frozen, but bottom lane looks like it's going to be pushing a little bit.
Yeah, and Ella just being annoying, trying to get some gold there with the Frost Queen's plane.
Well, you have to remember, generally they smite on the first buff, which they have, so the potential for a steal with a charged up tornado is very real here, and Ella trying to make it happen doesn't actually throw it out there.
Yeah, not going to happen just yet, but does some damage here to the Vici jungle duo. Is
still following them.
Ella is not letting them go. Is Barker actually able to push out this lane, and this is what Ezreal's very good at in the early stages, able to shove that wave in, but of course, once he builds that tier, not going to have quite as much lane control. Yeah,
certainly won't. Of course, the tier not going for those combat stats early does hurt Ezreal, but can just fire off Qs at will, trying to shove it out. Of course, a lot has to do with the fact that Victor needs to upgrade that E to really get the one-shot wave clear coming through.
Yep. Carry and Dandy now on the red buff, just buddying it up. Dandy going to be able to secure that one as well, get some health back.
And they're going to be able to do a complete clear here in very quick time, actually. And see if they go towards the bot for a dive, because there are two members of Snake down there. Flandre breaking away after that level 2, heading into the bottom lane. Ella has joined him, so it will be Corki soaking all these solo experience. And I love when teams do this with Corki. Scales so well with levels compared to other AD carries. Able to really get in there and impact the game just through those levels, get those rockets up there and poke people down. So definitely someone that benefits from having a solo lane of experience.
And it is going to be Snake getting completely zoned away from this bottom outer turret.
They're sending Beast into the lane as well, so they're looking to counter with 3 members of their own. Not necessarily agreeing with this. Maybe better just sacrifice all the experience going down there, because now they are drawing a lot of members, but Flandre will be able to get back in experience range, pick up some important last hits for himself.
Yeah, and actually having Barker with a little bit of a pushing advantage here in the mid lane is very much helping out Snake. You saw him cheating towards that bottom side, actually drawing away the Vici jungler and top duo. Of course, Carry now towards that top side of the map, trying to deal with the push coming through from Crystal, not letting him have a free time up there in the lane. As, ooh, nice combo to come through from Hatong there in mid.
Yeah, and I want to see when Baka does back. We've seen Ezreal shove out very early and go back for that tier at around the 4.5 minute mark, just to be able to solidify that a little bit earlier than normal, and has got the amount of gold to be able to do it, building a nice CS advantage actually as Baka, but hasn't elected to go back yet.
Yeah, just probably wants to shove out this wave relentlessly as well, but is it going to be a mistake potentially if he doesn't finish that early? Because of course the power trough coming through for Ezreal is quite difficult. Yeah,
and that's why I like when Ezreals do go back very early. It does seed a little bit of the lane control that they have with the ability to push with their Q, but you know, getting it a little bit early, 1 or 2 minutes, he could have had it about a minute ago, would have meant that he has that much more stacks and the ability to continue to Q the wave. And we see in the top lane, Crystal actually zoning very effectively against Carry, trying to keep the Rumble down in levels, has gone with the Duran shield, as well as a lot of potions, so will be hard to be shoved out. But if anyone can do it, it's that mixed damage Corki in the top lane.
Yeah, Tong actually doing a lot of poke damage here to Barker as the Arcane Shift is used just for a bit of harassment there as well, as Crystal continues his assault here on the top side. Scrap Shield not going to be quite enough to deal with the Phosphorus Bomb damage from this Corki as he's leveling up, and this is precisely what you meant getting being used up here in the top side of the map, just because that Phosphorus Bomb's so reliant on levels.
Yeah, it certainly is, and we see Barker actually going aggressive on Dandy. He gets the slowdown.
Yeah, Beast has actually found him here as Barker on his way, does land a Mystic Shot there as well. Preyseeker not going to find its mark as Crystal continuing his damage towards the top side. Raptor buff is going to alert Dandy of the fact that there is a ward there in the brush, and at 400 health he is going to be able to get away. Flandre taking some damage there. Eye of the Storm being used by Ella beautifully just to make sure Flandre doesn't die, and Death Sentence not going to find the mark as Vici now starting to take control over these lanes.
Yeah, but Vasily swapping targets as soon as that shield came out, so good awareness from him to be able to get out maximum damage on this Lucian, and we see continual pressure from Crystal in this top lane, trying to make it work, continuing to shove in.
Getting all of these last hits as well, but of course Vasily staying very, very close as far as this opposite side of the map AD carry matchup is going. But of course, level 7 almost hit here for Crystal. Yeah,
we saw the ultimate thrown out from Barker. He hasn't been able to push this lane out at all and is now getting pressured with the level 6. That's a lot of burst damage that can come through from Hatong, and Barker needs to be careful.
Yeah, oh, actually didn't land the auto attack after the Q. That Siphon Power auto is so much harass damage as Hatong actually looking to go aggressive.
Flash ultimate there, and we actually see Beast in the bottom lane trying to help shove out, unfreeze this wave, because Vasily masterfully controlling that, and we actually see nearly the completed Moramana coming out of Barker on his first back.
Yeah, it does have the extra pickaxe, and is that going to help him enough here in this lane to try and answer back to all of the aggression that Hatong's putting out? Of course, having the extra AD is really going to help augment as smarter. Descent's going to go wide. Flandre actually looking to go aggressive, as he generally does.
Yeah, look, it's going to help him in the lane, of course it is. A pickaxe in any lane for an AD carry helps equalize a lot of things. However, the problem is he was up by about 9 CS, and he's given all of that up by the fact that he just didn't shop early enough, wasn't able to get any more sustain. Of course, has those mana biscuits, so going a little bit deeper into utility, not defensive there, and got poked out by Hatong, was actually in kill range, and needs to be careful in this lane now because Hatong started to get rolling, and we've seen how much burst damage does come out of this Victor.
Yeah, it's true, and now has that Death Ray upgraded here as well. Picked up the augment of that Hex Core as his first option. A lot of these Victors have been deciding to go with that one, and his wave clear is going to be unparalleled, especially by this mid-game Ezreal, who really needs a true shot barrage and a few auto attacks if he really wants to be able to insta-clear a wave, and it's just not quick enough.
Yeah, well, Ezreal just doesn't insta-clear waves, really relies heavily on those auto attacks to consistently push, and we've stuck with the lane swap here, and it has very much suited Vici. If you look at the CS discrepancy between top laners, it's 36 to 10 currently.
It's ridiculous.
Actually keeping Flandre down to the point where he had to go for a second Doran's ring, not going to be able to get that roller. Although we have seen Righteous Glory really become the popular item on these Maokai, but A 30 CS advantage at this point in the game is massive, and that's just going to be the carry so much more effective in these first couple of Dragon fights. Will be able to do a lot of damage, whereas Maokai won't be that tank that they need him to be.
I mean, yeah, that's true, but Flandre has been very, very good at playing without a whole lot of resources. Often uses that Maokai without being able to get too much farm, of course, is often used in these lane swap situations here as well, but we'll see whether it is going to affect him this time as Vici. They're going to start off the first Dragon here with exclusive vision. You can see that Pink Water's shut out Snake completely. Barker doesn't have True Shot Barrage, no ultimates to come through to try and steal this one away, and getting an early Dragon against the Nunu, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it certainly is, especially when you've accumulated leads in the top lane, and we see a lot of poke damage also coming down in mid, so that's the first Dragon going over, and you have to say every lane has an advantage for Vici.
Yeah, and wasn't what it was looking like earlier on in this matchup. Hetong was falling behind earlier, but of course the Ezreal power slump has come into great effect. Hetong is going to find that ward there over the edge, and Beast has been chilling in this brush for quite some time.
Yeah, it certainly has set up the camp. Ooh, we see the laser just missing there, but Hetong now has the confidence to be going aggressive in this matchup, and you have to really compliment him on how he's trying to control Barker. We mentioned that Barker was focus banned a lot, and Beast trying to roam around, but has fallen behind in CS, hasn't done much counter jungling, and really hasn't been that effective to this point in the game.
Yeah, he's been sort of just wandering around. Does have the Sightstone, of course, already completed. Chilling Smite is the option that he's gone for here as well. 5.4 hasn't been quite as kind to the old Chilling Smite as previous patches. We have been seeing a lot more Trailblazers as the True Shot Barrage does find Hetong for a little bit of harassment. And Ella is hanging out here as well. Either Storm onto Barker, but that was after all of the harassment to come through here from Hetong and take down the Pink Ward, but that's about it.
Yeah, it certainly is, and now looks like Barker might even be forced out of lane. You see him, Arcane Shift, he's going back, so that's a lot of damage that will go down on this turret. We'll be able to free push that in the top lane. Crystal does manage to get the turret. He's level 9 to the level 7 of carry, so still being super aggressive, but Ella's been caught.
Oh, Descent's not going to find the mark, though. There's a really, really nice exhaust onto Vasily to make sure Ella doesn't die to that, but summon a spell just for being caught out of position.
Double summon a spells for being caught out of
course.
position. That's horrible for Ella. You see how weak he and Flandre are in this lane. Neither are level 6 yet versus level 6 on both Marta and Vasily. Vasily now just ticking over to level 7. They're smashing this lane. They're holding down Flandre so much. 38 CS is the difference to the top laners.
Yeah, just insane. Carry, of course, isn't having the best time up here. 61 to 111 as far as that direct lane opponent is concerned, but you'd expect that a Rumble would fall even further behind than a Maokai.
Yeah, but if you compare lane to lane, 64 to 114, okay, that doesn't look bad, but 108 to 22
is
the direct lane opponent. Not even getting any gold onto anyone in this bottom lane. They're completely zoned away, not getting experience. It's level 5 to level 8.
Oh, and Hetong actually gone for the second Hex Core augment here as well, so made sure that he has the extra movement speed from the Q.
Yeah, and I really like this against AD mid lane, actually. Being able to trade effectively with that Q1 auto attack just means that when the Sheen comes through, not really going to be doing that much, as we see Crystal trying to get aggressive, and this is what you feel they have to do. They've got this Corki into the mid game. Nearly going to be able to pick up that Trinity Force relatively soon. 1,600 gold. I actually think he can go back and pick it up now, and really need him to catapult his team into a lead, because if they don't hit the double Trinity Force power spike soon on the Ezreal as well as the Corki, they're in a lot of trouble to fall beyond reach.
Well, this is the thing, and this outer turret in the bottom lane probably going to go down. Vici looking for a steal on the blue buff and stealing away buffs from a Nunu here, as well as Marta comes through. Oh, True Shot Barrage almost was enough, but Hetong managing to have enough burst damage with that Q in order to get him out of there. As Vasily going to head back into this lane and pick up this outer turret, the first one of the game. 1,500 or 1,500 gold is going to be the lead for Vici Gaming so far, and this is looking like it might be heading the same direction as yesterday. Vici with just so much control, so much knowledge of where their power lies in their comp and how to execute.
Yeah, certainly are, and I just think at this point they're better at every point in the game. They've got the double AP for all of the early control, and they've got some fantastic late scaling as well. Flandre has been put that far behind. He's just never going to be the tank that they need him to be, and
he's got one creep kill in the last 4 minutes of the game, I believe.
Right now, Snake need to do something desperate. Like, they need to team up with this Corki. They're giving him the red buff. Need to start trying to siege. Maybe swap it into Vasily's lane and try and kill Vasily because it is a BF sword versus a Trinity Force. So maybe get that. But Alla doesn't have level 6. Marta does. Like, there's just so many advantages across the map currently for Vici. And they don't look like they're going to make a mistake. They're just continuing to move around, farm up, and keeping Flandre down.
Yeah, and Baka did have the assistance of Crystal there in the mid lane. Crystal looking to try and make some plays around here because he didn't want to chill out in that lane too far up. Of course, Dandy waiting in the wings, as you can see. And Harpoon not going to land the first time as Carry gets bursted down by Crystal. But Dandy coming in at exactly the right time. Crystal has to be careful. Flashes over the wall, but Dandy flashes after him. Is going to find first blood, and Vici, they pull the trigger.
Yeah, and he stopped the Valkyrie mid-flight. Wasn't able to go anywhere. Dandy with a great gank coming through. Carry with a good, I guess, bait. And that just means that they're falling further behind. We said it really rested on Corki. He tried to go aggressive. Wasn't able to get anything off. And I don't know how Snake win this game. It's only 15 minutes in, but Vici just look on point.
They look incredibly strong. I don't know what has happened during the week, but Vici Gaming definitely looking like one of the top teams here in the LPL. And we saw similar performances come through from EDG and Vici. You have to think that the game yesterday that Vici showed us exactly what they were capable of, and it was very similar to what EDG did.
Yeah, it certainly is. They've taken down another outer turret, grown their lead to 3,500 gold at only 15 minutes in. We used to say 5,000 gold was bad last season when Dragon gave money. This is getting close to that before 20 minutes, and they've got the Dragon advantage, which you would have to think they're going to take the next one.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily even the fact that Snake have been making mistakes or anything has really happened on this map. One kill has gone down, but it's Vici Gaming's strategical play that is really on point and has been throughout the last few days.
I really think that Snake kept the lane swap going for way too long. Flandre is at the point where he will be completely useless until about the 28-minute mark. He's not going to have any completed items, just so behind. And when you're a Maokai, if you can't tank, you can't CC people up. He hasn't got the levels, he hasn't got the items. If they had swapped him into the 1v1, at least he would have got that solo experience. Instead, completely zoned off the wave, couldn't do anything, and now he's forced to freeze as a Maokai and not even join his team.
And this is the mid game as well. This is where you want to have that Maokai as that tanky frontline in your team fights around the Dragons. And that is only going to make things better for Vici, who already have this brilliant team fighting comp around this mid stage of the game.
Yeah, and that's what they were hoping for. They were hoping for the Maokai, for the Nunu, to be able to get onto these immovable carries. So they had to drop the equalizer on the front line and not the double AD. Instead, now if Flandre tries to take anyone, they turn around and kill him straight up.
Yeah. And do you think that Crystal has an opportunity to pick up the Berserker's Greaves in this particular matchup? Of course, Sorcerer's Shoes are fantastic, but when you've got that Blood Boil, do you want to be sort of augmenting yourself in the auto-attack direction?
I think because it's such a squishy lineup, with the exception of Dandy, Sork Boots are fine in this case. Also gives some magic damage into a lineup, so really going to lack magic damage. Otherwise, they just stack armor, and all of a sudden your double AD carries are quite useless. I think it really is the mid laner, Baka, that needs to get going in his build, and he's fallen behind now nearly 20 CS and started to struggle. So maybe rely on him a little bit more, but until about the 22-minute mark, when he's got that transform, got the Trinity Force, he's going to still be in this mid-game slump, and that's a problem with this Snake lineup. I just don't know what their win condition is now they've fallen this far behind.
Well, Vici Gaming that are trying to make a move here on this bottom side. Dandy not going to quite find the Prey Seeker over onto Crystal, who's doing his best just to clear out these waves.
And I love the over-warding this time around. We normally criticize Vici for warding parts of the maps that don't matter, but when you are this far ahead, 5,000 gold nearly at 18 minutes, you can afford to ward everything. Everyone should be lighting up the map for everything, because at any point, you are looking to fight. You catch a member out on Snake, you're looking for a pick, and you can see the whole of the top side of the jungle completely lit up. All of the bottom side of the jungle lit up. The only ward I don't agree with is in the banana brush behind Drake, because at the end of the day, they're not going to be there, and Beast is being caught.
Yeah, forced to flash away immediately here as well, as Marta comes over with a death sentence onto the Raptors.
And look how aggressive Vici are willing to play. They have no cares in the world. They've lit up the whole top side of the map. all of Snake's jungle has been watered, and Beast now will just be completely strangled out. He's a Nunu that isn't counter jungling. He's just worried about trying to secure his own Raptors.
Yeah, and the red buff's there, but he's going to be going back to base, wants to pick up potentially some more items here. I'm not entirely sure what he's going to be able to get. Actually, he's waiting for something. Null Magic Mantle is going to be completed, but that's sort of a nothing buy here as Beast definitely struggling. And this is not the type of performance that we're used to seeing from Beast on this Nunu.
Yeah, looking to get the Aegis, and across the board, Snake just not forcing the way we're used to. We're used to seeing this fantastic mid-game team fighting that explodes with kills and looks for fights, but they've just recognized at this point in the game, no matter how well they team fight, they're not going to win. So we really are stalling this one out, and really surprised that we're seeing a Snake game. Wow, Beast being equalized away from his own red buff.
Yeah, and that's going to be the third buff now stolen away here by Vici. Dandy just had complete run of this jungle.
And look, now taking away the Krugs, not stopping there, continuing to starve out this Nunu. Flyndre is up there, and in the bottom lane, they're looking to try and get busy, but Hatong, he's level 12. He's got that upgraded trinket and augmented, and coming through with the Morellonomicon, so has a lot of CDR in that build as well. So, as I said, this is not the Snake lineup we're used to seeing. We're used to seeing the team that loves to fight, wants to get in your face in the mid game, but it's 20 minutes, and they're not looking to start anything. They're in full stall mode.
Yeah, now LPL teams just seem to be able to deal with these mid lane Ezreal pickups, knowing exactly where the power lies, knowing exactly how to defeat it, and Vici demonstrated that that is not something that they're worried about at all yesterday, and it's a little bit of a worry that Snake decided that they wanted to go for it as well.
Yeah, and we've questioned Baka's champion pool over. We've questioned, I guess, Beast's champion pool. And you see, with how they've been hit in this pick ban phase, not really looking comfortable. Maybe something that was a little bit more gank heavy like the Jarvan would have been useful. Instead, went on the counter jungling Nunu and now just fallen very far behind.
Maybe the one saving grace is the fact that Crystal is very far ahead as far as that experience is concerned, equal with Hatong now. And when you've got a team that is so far ahead in terms of map controllers, Ella's going to get caught. The box goes down as well. It's the Monsoon into a beautiful flash. He's still burning down, though. The Chilling Smite, and Martyr actually picks up the kill with the last tick of the Ignite. Carry is now just... Oh, my goodness. The culling from Vasily. And not entirely sure what Crystal was doing back there, but Martyr going to get caught potentially by Flandre. Equalizer up yet again as Barker takes half of his health just incidentally from that ability. And True Shot Barrage to come down, just finds a bit of damage under Dandy.
And this is a case of who's catching who. Even though they've got the double Trinity Force Spike with a BF as well as a Manamune coming through, they're not able to do anything. Hatong doing so much burst damage, completely erasing Crystal in that fight. Vasily able to catch up and pick up the kill, and now they're pressuring tier 2s before Snake have even looked to do anything on this map.
Yeah, turret shot actually being hit by Hatong, but Barker taking a whole lot of damage. They just don't really seem to care.
Yeah, they definitely don't, and Flandre might have to teleport into this fight. I think that with how low the health bars are, if they start up Dragon, this may be the one opportunity Snake have, but you see how much control's on the bottom side of the map. They don't even feel like they have to rush this one. Beast and Ellen might be able to clean out some wards, but not much else going to come through unless they try and force a Dragon fight.
Yeah, they're looking to. Vasily, of course, back in base. Dandy and Marta are hanging out here. Of course, Dandy back to full health.
They need to do this right now, otherwise they can't do it. They started up. This is still a big risk with how strong they are. Teleport coming through. They will get it, but will the fight come afterwards?
Yeah, we'll see whether it is going to be Vici going over the wall. Dandy's there, doesn't secure the Dragon. Difficult to take it away from a Nunu, but worth the shot because, of course, didn't need to use that flash to get out. Had a Dark Passage there in order to make his way out.
Not to mention he's got a Warden's Mail Ninja Tab by a giant belt, so he's not going to die in the attempt. Probably could have even walked through the lineup with Ezreal going back, and they'll sweep out the wards. Snake, grab a Dragon against the flow. That's terrific, but they're against the Infinity Edge Static Shift Zerka Greaves Vasily at the moment. He is so strong, and you just fear this mid-game lineup isn't getting anywhere.
Yeah, and the fact that Vasily's got through that sort of phase with the awkward, pure Infinity Edge part of his build completed, doesn't have a whole lot of crit to augment it, but now that he has the Static Shiv, and we saw how good Vasily is at getting an old crit yesterday, I would definitely not want to take him on 1v1 at this stage if I was anyone on this map.
And once again, the aggressive use of the Rek'Sai ult has maybe caught Ella out in the jungle.
Yeah, it's just caught the Krugs out at this stage as Dandy's going to focus on that. And actually leaving the little one up here as well. They are definitely starving Beast out here. And I mean, Crystal has died a couple of times, stayed up in CS though. He's got a lot of farm. Barker has pulled it back as well, only 10 CS behind. And it's only 3-0 as far as these kills are concerned. I mean, 5,000 gold is the lead, was 6,000 before. They have picked up a dragon. Snake not exactly falling further and further behind as this game goes on, but you have to think that it's largely to do with Vici just biding their time, waiting for the next opportunity.
Yeah, it certainly is. Vici are just moving around the map and taking whatever they want. You look at the tunnels and where they are placed strategically aggressively in the top side of the jungle. You can see that Dandy definitely wants to focus some attention there, and time and time again, they're forced to try and clean out this mid wave, with Rumble just collecting even more CS in the top lane. He's now 65 CS ahead of Flandre, who's really still struggling to grab anything. Lowest CS in the game by a long way, and wave clear isn't terrific on Snake. They've got the Corki, they've got the True Shot Barrage from Ezreal, but they're just going to try and rotate around the map, take whatever they can, and force fights around this Dragon and eventually Baron objective.
Yeah, no, it's just the fact that they don't have any control over their jungle as well on the side of Snake. These jungle camps, they mean a lot as far as that gold is concerned as this game progresses, and losing so many and easily being able to take that inner turret is Vici. Just looks like Snake sort of caught unaware of what to do, which is not what we're used to from Snake.
Yeah, we're definitely not. And we look at the gold advantage. 500 for the AD carries, but it really is that top lane. About 1,600 gold, the advantage. Junglers also with a huge advantage. 2,500 gold, the advantage for Dandy on this Rek'Sai. And we've seen how powerful Rek'Sai is this patch. Just don't agree with giving it over. I think that you either have to take the Nidalee or the Rek'Sai, because they seem to be the really strong jungles at the moment.
Yeah, Nidalee was banned away as that last ban. Snake took a long time to work out which one was more important. You have to think whether it is that Rek'Sai, whether it is that Nidalee. And after seeing Spirit on the kitty lady, I have a feeling that giving away the Nidalee could have been equally as bad.
Yeah, it certainly is, but that's the thing. It's equally as bad. So you take one of them yourself. You either ban both or you don't ban any at this point in time, because they are head and shoulders above all the other junglers. And we see, once again, Dandy trying to get in that top side of the jungle, trying to sweep away all the wards, get some deep vision with his Sightstone, even picked up another pink ward, and really is dictating the pace of this game.
Yeah, and I want to actually have a percentage count of how many of these Void Rushes Dandy's used in his own jungle and how many is used in Snake's jungle, because it seems to me like 100% of the time Dandy is just rushing back into Snake's jungle to try and clear that out.
Yeah, he certainly is, and they've started up the Baron with all the vision denial that's come through. They'll be able to pick this up for free. Beast is back in base. He's nowhere to be seen, and that's a 26-minute free Baron going over to the Vici lineup, and they've looked untouchable this game. Snake can't get anywhere near this team, and
oh my goodness, the flash death sentence from Marta here as well throws out a Dark Passage for Hetong, who gets slowed down there just a little bit, but Snake, they see the fact that there is a Baron now on Vici, and you have to think that breaking the base is an achievable goal here at 27 minutes.
Well, I love Hetong's build. He's gone the Lich Bane, means that he can Death Laser with his shield up and just walk up and auto-attack the turret for all the free damage.
Yeah, ridiculous.
At this point in the game, it looks like Snake are going to choose to never teamfight Vici, so he's gone a very turret-pushing, focused build, and will be able to just clear out waves, get poked down onto the turret at will, and with these Baroned up minions, they will fall so quickly.
Yeah, you can see already Dandy pushing out this mid-wave. Barker feels like he may have caught him out here. Dandy going to flash out of the way, as of course that tunnel was on cooldown.
But Vici still pick up another turret, and you see how big this wave is. Vasily just using the culling to try and zone off, and no one really going to be able to take out that minion. Actually walking out of the base to do so. They've caught Flandre.
Yeah, Death Sentence to come through here as well. Immediately flashes out of the way as the Vengeful Maelstrom comes through to stop some of the follow-up damage. Vasily's playing right up the front of this team as Hetong gets bursted down, but equaled in kind by Vasily onto Barker, and Beast was there for a second. Crystal got eliminated, and Those health bars were there for about half a second.
Yeah, and that was just Hetong going so aggressive. Vasily being able to follow up. That will almost be the game for Vici Gaming coming through. And make no mistake, although this game was 28 minutes long, it was over at about the 14th minute.
Yeah, just ridiculous. The fact that Flandre got nowhere, the fact that Vici were everywhere they needed to be, denying most of the blue buffs that have spawned for Snake. And Snake, this entire game looked like they had no opportunity to get in.
Yeah, they had absolutely nothing, and you see they haven't been able to finish the game, and true Vici fashion of what we're seeing, they take away the blue buff. They're denying another dragon, even though they're also low, look like they need to get to base. Just giving Snake the minimum, leaving absolutely nothing available, and you really have to hand it to how Vici have played out this game. If you don't go super early against a team like this that is just willing to strangle you out, there is no way you come back.
Yeah, and does Snake need to look at adjusting their playstyle for the next matchup to make sure that they can accommodate for this early game rush of power that Vici have managed to pick up? Because this is what their playstyle has been, and it seems like no one has an answer for it.
Yeah, it certainly does, and I really, once again, go back to the lane swap, how long they stuck in it, the tactic behind letting Flandre, who does so much for this team. I know that we've hyped Crystal, but to me, it really is Flandre that allows him to do the things that he does, and without the Morgana in the top lane, without being able to farm out these waves, has looked relatively ineffective on the Maokai. And although 0-0-0 is the scoreline, so you can't say that he's been the worst performer on his team, they really didn't set him up for any kind of success.
Yeah, True Shot Barrage just for a desperation clear of these minions here, as well as Phosphorus Bomb going to clear out that wave. But you can see this bottom lane being taken care of, or attempting to be taken care of by Flandre. But with that Righteous Glory, it's pretty tough for a Maokai to get rid of these super creeps.
Yeah, it certainly is, and Vici now have the luxury of just being able to continually push 2 waves. Voidstar finished up on this mid lane Victor, who although fell behind early, is now 306 CS at 31 minutes. So farming up an absolute storm, and they're just going to continue to strangle them out of objectives. Actually send Dandy, who could 1v1 Flandre at the moment, into a lane to farm and split push because he's got that Rek'Sai ultimate available, of course. And we see Vasily playing without a care in the world.
Yeah, there was a Dark Passage there, but Vasily, he didn't want to look at it. Of course, that's going to take him away from auto-attack range on the enemy team, and that is not something that he's into. As 1 versus 3, showing no fear at all. As there's the True Shot Barrage. He's going to get rid of the minion wave, but seems like Hetong's even happy to tank this one up. And Ella just getting exploded here. Beast with a decent ultimate there in the back line, but Carry, he's going to pick up Ella, and the culling to come through now as well from Vasily. Gets hit by the Ice Blast, so going to be doing a little bit to try and slow down the attack speed, but every single auto attack coming through from Vasily is so much damage.
And I just want to point out how perfectly Vici have played this game. 7-0. They gave up 1 dragon and 1 turret in a lane swap. They are and I'm not even going to call them mistakes. That is the absolute minimum you could probably get away with in a game of League of Legends. I honestly can't believe how well this team has played to be 14,000 gold ahead at 32 minutes into the game. And now Flandre going to be soloed out here. Vasily's a monster.
Yeah, he is definitely a monster. Look at the crits coming through here as well. Has the red buff. Flandre trying to walk away, and Vasily not deciding to go overly aggressive by diving that turret. He's going to easily be able to send that message, though, that the tree does not belong in a lane with Lucian. Yeah,
it certainly does not. No armor coming through yet, apart from the boots. And this is what we said would happen. Double AD. Vasily, who's been playing so well. If you run 2 AP champions and no one's able to itemize for that armor, you just see how much damage he's able to get done. And the opposite is true as well, with Carry and Hetong being very real threats in this game. All damage coming out from the Rumble as well as the Victor. If you don't pick up the magic resistance, they're going to completely shred you. So really no option for Snake.
Yeah, and Dandy now, because Carry doesn't have that teleport available, Void Rush is there for this Rek'Sai, and Dandy continually pushing in this bottom wave. There are double lanes of super creeps heading into the Snake base. And this is sort of the perfect split push to come out as well. I mean, even when the teleport's down, and theoretically Snake has a teleport advantage.
So we see Crystal doing his best to try and clear out these waves. Marta looking to get aggressive. Maybe a bit of frustration coming through from Vici. They want to close this one out. Baron is respawning in 20 seconds. That looks like it'll be the logical objective, as so many super creeps actually going to take out the second turret on the base. Nexus now exposed. Baron going to be picked up in 10 seconds. You would think that if this game was, I guess, very difficult for Snake to win before, probably now impossible.
Yeah, nigh unwinnable here for Snake, but crazier things have happened. And it's 34 minutes into this game. I mean, okay, I'm not even going to try and infer, but
I was actually going to say, I don't think crazier things have happened. There have been some insane comebacks in League of Legends, but 0 kills at 35 minutes to come back and win a game would be a miracle.
yes, an incredible miracle, some could say, as Baron is going to be taken down here as well for the second time by Vici Gaming. Relentless Pursuit going to get Vasily over that wall. And they are going to be able to just stroll into the base, maybe take down the bottom lane inhibitor if they feel like it.
And look at, if you just compare the items, Vasily, 5 finished items. It's not a cheap build. In the mid lane, nearly 6 items coming through for this Victor. Top laners aren't even comparable at this point. If you look at the gold, 8,300 to 11,000.
Oh, Death Sentence onto Crystal here as well. Forced to use that flash to get out. Beast with the absolute 0, but Carry's just going to Zonya's that one up. And Snake, they haven't died just yet as her Tong just bursts down Crystal. He doesn't have a Zonya, so he's going to fall down. That's a couple of kills now. No, actually just one here for Snake as Barker forced back into the fountain. Beast going to get flashed on, but the Nexus is exposed and Vasily just able to take it out with the Light Slinger. And Vici Gaming, what an outstanding performance.
Yeah, nearly perfect Atlas. Only 1 death coming through. They gave up a dragon and a turret, but 18,000 gold, 35 minutes. That was an absolute stomping if I've ever seen one. Vici played it pretty well.
Yeah, and it's not even necessarily like it was a stomping, because a stomp, you seem to see teams sort of taking advantages too far, doing relentless diving, doing crazy things like that. This was Vici not letting Snake play the game.
Yeah, they completely shut them out.
Didn't have an option.
Yep.
Just absolutely ridiculous. And Snake, we'll see whether they're going to take that one lying down or whether they're going to come back in the second series. These are, of course, best of 2. Let's see whether they can take it to Vici in the next one.